Hi guys, my name is Rowan. Welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be talking about my most recent read, which is Life is Not Complicated, You Are by Carlos Wallace. I just want to thank my psychology teacher for making me read this book. It was an amazing book. I read a lot and I took a lot from it. A lot of things that I'm going to apply to my everyday life and for my long life ahead of me. I would also like to mention, if I could pick a book that I could just change the author's name on and put my name, it'd be this book. Phenomenal book. I'm also going to make people read this book because of how phenomenal it was. I feel like this is a book that everyone needs to read at least once in their life. So I will be passing this book on. There you go. So we're just going to jump straight into it, and the first thing I would like to talk about, I have a little list of notes, so if I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking at these. The first thing I would like to talk about is the chapter labeled Foundation. So the three quotes I have pulled from this chapter all kind of mash and have the same reasoning behind them. The first one, in no specific order, is why would you ever hope that people who help enlighten you suffer? I experienced this in high school a lot when mainly girls would get into fights with other girls. They'd be like, I hate her, I just hope she, fails the class. That's probably some of the nicest things that were said. But my thing is, if you spend a lot of time with this person and you dedicated a lot of your time with this person, there is bound to be things that you learned, and you have to be thankful of that because there is a lot to learn in life. And if someone's helping you learn those, it's even easier on you because you don't have to search for the answers yourself. So this was a big one because it always just confused me why people were always so mad towards people and so hostile towards the people who they once, love and and appreciated one time in their life. So even though someone may do you dirty, or even though someone may do you dirty or treat you badly, they still helped you a lot and they still taught you a lot, even though you may not notice it. They did. The next quote I picked out was, no one will work harder to improve your life than you. I feel like in my generation, I don't even know what generation I live in anymore at this point. Am I a Generation Z? Am I a boomer? I don't know. I'm very unsure, but it's okay. It's fine. But in my generation, I have found that a lot of people want other people to help them fix their lives. And that's okay up to a certain point. It's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to seek help and, receive help. But at the end of the day, no one's going to try to make you happier or more successful or, whatever you're trying to be in life than yourself. It's easiest for you to fix yourself and for you to pinpoint the negatives or, the things wrong with your life and improve them because you know exactly where they start and you know how they need to be fixed. And that's automatically working harder because we as humans are determined to make ourselves happier and to, just be perfect individuals. So I like that one because it does remind me that if I want something in my life, I have to work towards it. So that reminds me, and it just, you know, helps me keep my eye on the very many prizes I probably will have throughout the rest of my life. And my last one is, just because you choose not to remember does not mean it did not happen. Again, my teen years in high school and my early adult hood years in college, I have experienced this a lot with friends and roommates. They like to forget what happened in the embarrassing years of middle school or elementary school, or maybe even the first 2 years of high school, but it still happened, and it was a phase in your life or something you chose to do with your life, and you learned and developed and you grew from it. So even though it may have been embarrassing, or you know, you're not really too sure about it anymore at this point, it's still something that helped you open your eyes and open you to a new realm of just things that you're going to experience in the rest of your life. So you know, I really liked these 3 quotes, and I will probably keep these sticky notes, and I'll probably post them somewhere around my room or places I see them a lot. But I like those 3 quotes. And going along the same theme of foundation, I actually do have a who and a what is my foundation. I would say, who is my foundation? Definitely my mom. My mom is here to keep me grounded. She's here to push me harder. She's here to push me when I no longer feel like I could push myself. She's kind of my backup me. She's my backup brain. And, you know, she's here to step in when my mind and my brain just kind of shuts down and I start to doubt myself. And I'm really thankful for her. I love her. And what is my foundation? I would say is being a first-generation college student. As a first gen, I wouldn't necessarily say I feel a lot of pressure, but I would like to make people in my family proud of what I did, and that is continually, yes, pushing me to progress through this journey and being successful in my life, because I like making people proud, and I like making people happy. And so plus I like feeling good. So yeah, so those are my 2 foundations. Where's the place I feel most grounded? Around the people I love. I have a lot of support systems in my family, my mom, my brother, my stepdad, and then, you know, from my home away from home, my boyfriend and his parents, not just parents, but his family in general. They are all motivational persons, and they all see the best in me, and they all know that if I put my mind to it, can, you know, do anything I want to. And for the type of person I am, sometimes I just need people. I just need that reassurance from some people, because sometimes I fall flat on it, on my personal and mental situations. But yes, thankful, so thankful for those people. Where is my safe place? Where do I feel most growth? It would probably be right here in my bedroom. I designed it in such a way that makes me comfortable and that allows me to focus the best. So it helps me you know, it helps me. It helps me focus on what I need to do and what I need to complete in order to progress. So all of my foundations, I would say, is pretty much pretty personal and pretty around me. So the next chapter I'm going to be talking about is adversity. And again, I have 3 quotes. The first one I have in no specific order is, I believe you should always pick your battles. Know when a cause is worth fighting for. This is a big thing in my life because I do not like wasting time or breath. And in this chapter, the author went and explained how his mother was on a trip away from home with, I believe it was a basketball team. I do know it was an athletic team of that sort. And they had stopped on their travels to eat at a diner, and she was not welcomed in because she was a woman of color and the diner was only for white people. So she was told that she can order her food and go back to the bus and eat in the and eat in the bus. And so he explains that it was just easier for her to not fight that battle because the decision was already made. And I feel like a lot of people need to know this because I do believe a lot of time is wasted on doing this when it could be put to doing personal growth or, you know, just things you need to do in your life. So I feel like this is a good way that you could just improve on your life a little bit. The next one is, oftentimes we underestimate just how resilient we are. I like this one because I feel that within myself. With my mental issues, I often feel down about myself, and I oftentimes, what's the word I'm looking at? Kind of like hound myself for the things I'm doing. And sometimes I don't feel that great about myself. And so, you know, seeing this makes me think about how true it is, and it helps me not think about the bad things I think about myself. And so it really stood out for me because when I was reading, I honestly just stopped and I thought, and I was like, yeah. I was like, I can agree. So I really agree with this quote, and I really like it, and I feel like it's going to help me. So, and then another one, I really like this one. It made me chuckle when I was reading it. It says, stop, think, prepare, and then react. Growing up, my mom always told me to think about my response before I say it because I am a very opinionated person that talks a lot. And if I don't think about what I'm gonna say or how it sounds before I say it, it could come out the wrong way. So I like this quote because not only does it correspond with the previous quote, it also refers to a lot of just things that you come across in your daily life. If you're in a situation, if you're in a bad situation, you got some bad news, you know, you got in a car wreck or, you know, something, stopping, thinking, and preparing your situation, or not your situation, your thoughts and your feelings about it, and reacting on it will help you understand that some of the battles are not worth fighting for. So those quotes correspond with each other, and that was actually the first and the third one, not the second and the third one. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, so that one always just kind of, this one, when I read it, reminded me of my mom and how she said, you know, sometimes you just need to think about what you say before you say it. So I like that one because it was a little remembrance of my childhood. In this chapter, I would like to discuss one pivotal object that has made you develop for the better. And I would say, ironically enough, even though this was a hardship, me going to a university and my parents' divorce, it really opened my eyes and made me realize that I was no longer a teenager and it was time for me to grow up and be an adult. And during my parents' divorce, it made me realize that so many different things in life can happen. No matter if you feel like you have a set in stone, you know, this is my life. Anything can happen. And in seeing how well my mom coped with the whole thing, made me realize how strong of a person she was, and made me realize how strong of a person I can be. And if my mom can go through something like a divorce, I know that I can get through anything else. So, oddly enough, my parents divorcing was for the better because it was able to open my eyes to realize how strong my mom can be, and how strong I can be, and it made me realize that I did need to change for the better to complete university. But things happened and now I'm at a different campus, but it's okay. Name a challenge that has made you for the worst. This one is hard for me to admit, but I do admit it because just because it doesn't happen, or just because I don't want to remember it, it still happened. But something that changed me for the worst was in high school. I did not date the best of people, and they unfortunately all cheated on me, and they just were not good relationships. They weren't very long, thankfully, but because they weren't very long, they were very mentally abusing, and you know, just being cheated on isn't very nice either. So as I continued to date these people and I continued to break up with these people, I would think to myself, well, what do, you know, high school boys really want? And I changed myself for the worse because I started to change into someone who I didn't want to be, but who I thought other people wanted me to be. And so thankfully I have flipped that switch that I had flipped on, and now it's flipped off again. But it did make me a person, looking back at it now, I did not want to be. Hello. And but yeah, so that was I guess another rocky area of my life, but I didn't let it affect my academics. It just affected who I was as a person and what I thought and what I did as a person. So yeah, don't like admitting it, but I will, and it did happen, and I have grown from that, and yeah, so I definitely changed for the worst on that one because I just wasn't a person. I just wasn't the person I wanted to be, and I wasn't me, honestly. And you know, thankfully to my current boyfriend, he was able to get me out of that. He was able to get me out of the stigma I was trying to have, and help me be the person I am today. So again, thank you. And the last part of this is, what obstacle ultimately defines you? I would say that my brother passing away or, you know, loved ones passing, or not loved ones passing away, but people I really cared about or loved leaving my life, like friends or, you know, cousins, stuff like that, define me. Especially my brother, I would say, is the big one, because that made me realize so many things in my life I didn't know I could think that deep about. And he made me realize that life's too short and anything in life can happen. And oh, don't knock that down. That life's too short and anything in life can happen, and I should not take it for granted. And so I value my life, and I value the things I learn in my life, because who knows when the next time is I'll be able to apply them to a situation I am in. So, especially with, you know, friends that have come and gone, again, who knows? Yes, I could be sad for that situation, but who knows when, this doesn't sound morbid, but who knows when I get to experience that again. So instead of, I guess, not wasting my time, but instead of spending my time sad and moping around and just feeling guilty and bad for myself, I should really get out there and continue to progress as a person and continue to do the good things in my life that, you know, that I need to do in order to make myself happy. So, I would say that defines me and who I am as a person and what I like to focus on in my life. So now we are going to take a break from, not necessarily a whole break from talking about the book, but now we're going to talk about me again, and I love it because I love talking about myself. And this next part, I get to talk about myself, but I also get to pull quotes from the book that I liked from my life. And with that being said, I would like to talk about, it's here somewhere, I believe chapter 8. Yes, validation. So, this was my favorite chapter in the whole book. I related to a lot of this book. I would probably say most of this book. But this one hit home. The only part of this book that's really sticking out to me that I don't relate to is how my mom gave birth to me. Yeah, I applaud his mother for doing that. She's a beautiful, wonderful person. I honestly was not able to pull quotes from this chapter because there was so many. I did write a lot of notes on this chapter, so let me just skim through it. One that I'm reading right now that I really like says, braggers project to quiet their insecurities. Yes. There were so many moments where I had that I just was just reading, you know, doing the coffee shop snap, because yes, this book, I promise you guys, you will not be upset if you read it. This is phenomenal. I really like that one because I feel like it's very true. Another one that I really liked right here says, people will treat you exactly how you allow them. And growing up as a little girl, my mom told me never let someone run over you or tell you who you're supposed to be. And this one I really like because it's sadly true. If you allow someone to take advantage of you, or to belittle you, or to just, if you allow someone to be mean to you, they're gonna continue to be mean to you. And a couple of lines above this quote, he says, "Nasty is nasty, rude is rude, disrespect is disrespect." And that is also very true. And those two quotes, even though lines apart, still share the same common ideal behind them. So I really like those. Mind over matter, I really liked that one as well. I really like that one as well. You really have to know yourself as you really have to know yourself as a person in order, oh, my nose is itchy, in order to get through a lot of life's problems. Another one is, the big risk you take with deep reflection is you may not like the answers that rise to the surface. I struggled with this a lot when I was trying to figure out the type of person I am, and honestly, my purpose worth living. I didn't, for a while, I didn't understand why I was here, and why I was going to college, and why I was doing this, and why I was doing that, until I was doing as he said, a deep reflection on myself, and a lot of the answers to that were kind of uneasy and unsettling, and it made me think, like, wow, like, I don't know, this happened a long time ago, but I do remember this moment in my life happening, and a lot of the answers I didn't like about myself, but it didn't stop me from progressing on who I am today, and I am very proud of that. And yeah, it's very true. So when people do eventually come to that point in their life, they're gonna realize things about themselves, and they're gonna take a second. They're gonna be like, wow, like, I don't like that, and I can only hope that that person will take that and turn it into this beautifully positive thing. And so I can continue just talking about this chapter. I nearly highlighted at least 4 quotes on every page because of how great this chapter was. One great chapter of many, many great chapters. But this chapter, I would say, for sure sums up an important years of my life, which I feel like are high school. I feel like high school is a very important time for people to sit down and think about themselves, and sometimes they're not strong enough or even know how to begin to do that. I'm just thankful that I was able to do that myself. But yeah, I really like this chapter. I wish there was, let's see. Oh, I'm going to end it with this one because I feel like this is a very big one. I do not live my life to please others, and neither should you. I love this one. In my eyes, the only person you should be performing for is yourself. You should be doing what makes you happy and what continues to make you healthy. And if someone goes and says that you can't do something because they don't like it and it doesn't make you happy, why would you go out and do that? If people like to be happy, why would they go out and continue to do things that don't necessarily make them happy? I don't know, it just boggles my mind. And I really wish, I really wish that a lot of people would understand that at a younger age, because I feel like this changes the perspective of so many people's lives if they start living to please themselves and to act and perform for themselves. I'm just grateful that early on in my life I was able to realize that I don't really care what people think about me, and you know, I'm me, and I like me, and I like who I am, and you know, I say the things I say for a reason, and I act the way I act for a reason, and yeah. So I'm gonna end it with that quote. Phenomenal quote. I like this. Phenomenal chapter. Chapter 8. Let's see. So a trash can activity that was performed in class. We were all given, we were all to crumple up a piece of paper and have one shot to put it in the trash can. If you made it in the trash can, you got $100. Who is privileged? Who is not privileged? Why did it appear that way? In my eyes, the people who are privileged could be multiple people. So the privileged people would be the ones in front of the room, or in front of the room closer to the trash can, or the people who have maybe more of an athletic background than other people. I would say those people are pretty privileged because they've practiced at things like that. People who weren't privileged are maybe the shorter people, you know, sitting or standing behind the taller people, people in the way back, people who wear glasses, people who have depth perception issues like mine, you know, and it just appeared that way because of the outcomes that you would see from having a whole room continue to sit or stand where they're standing and try to make, you know, paper balls into a trash cans. The obstacles that got in the way of achieving my goal to the alleged privilege. People. The people and the practice behind some of the other people's is, you know, the obstacles that got in the way. Is everyone afforded the same opportunities in life? Yes. I feel like everyone is given the same opportunity in life. I don't know. It's kind of like a yes and a no answer. I feel like we're all given an I feel like we're all given the same opportunity of life, that we're all given the opportunity to be happy and healthy and live freely, but the same opportunities in life, not necessarily. I feel like a lot of us are at a disadvantage just for certain things, and that's a sad thing to think of. A disadvantage of color or religion or you know, he talked about like money, like how much money you make, or how many you know, so the same, we're given the same outlook on life, but I don't think we're given the same opportunities in life. How did you feel when you finally thought you had it all figured out, only to have the goal change position and an additional obstacle added that you are not? Frustrated. Because a lot of times it takes people a while to figure out and find the outcome that will complete this whole circle. And when something goes and it's, give me one moment.